Let's go through the top 12 grammar and vocabulary mistakes. And we're going to start from 1, and we're going to do all 10 questions for each of the 12 different mistakes, okay? So let's have a look at this. People are concerned about this law. The answer would be people are concerned. So it should be, because concern here is a noun or a verb. Okay, concern can be a noun or verb, but here it is used as an adjective. Okay, so it should be concern, and that comes after the be verb. All right, so you guys should know that what a clause is. Okay, the way an English clause is formed is subject plus verb at least. All right, these are the two compulsory elements, and the verb has tense or it's a modal. So every time we use an adjective, very often what comes before, you need an adjective, is not a verb. So if you were to say he is kind, okay, he is your subject, is your verb in the present simple, the be verb in the present simple tense, and this is kind. So this is your adjective. Okay, so adjective very often comes after the be verb. So your subject, your verb, and this is pretty much the adjective. So concerned about this law. All right, you wouldn't use the verb or a noun here. All right. Driving a car is more so the same thing. Driving a car, here's a subject, be verb, and you're going to find you want to use an adjective here. Convenience is a noun, so it should be convenient after the be verb. He did not aware of the implications. Basically, this again is the adjective, and you want to use a be verb. Now, did not is an auxiliary verb, and basically you would need he was not. Okay, you're using the be verb. When you have a be verb, you don't use auxiliary do or did not. Okay, you use the be verb. Be verb in the past simple tense, and with a negative you just put a not behind the be verb rather than did not. Did not is when you use other forms of verbs, not the V verbs. Like, for example, you would say he did not play well. Okay, so here's your subject, you're using a non-be verb, here's your verb, and you use the did not for the auxiliary verb. When you use a negative of not, you always need to use if you use a negative of a verb that is not be, you always need to use the auxiliary verb did not or do not. All right, did not for past simple tense, do not for present simple tense. But when you use an adjective, kind, okay, say for example kind is an adjective, and you want to use a negative, you say he, you what verb would you be using? You'll be using the be verb, and the be verb in a negative you just put a not behind the be verb. Okay, so he was not kind, or he is not kind. Okay, do you see that this is considered an auxiliary? Auxiliary means a helping verb, a helping word. Okay, so for non-be verbs, this is a be, but for verbs that are not be, you will need auxiliary did not or do not, right? But for be verbs, you to put the negative, all you do is put the not behind. Okay, so now if you are unsure, okay, these are very basic things, basic grammar. Go look it up, how to do the negative of a verb. Okay, in the present simple and the past simple, if it's be verb, you just put the not. If it's other verbs besides be, like play is not a be verb, okay, then you have to use auxiliary, an auxiliary verb, right? Okay, this regulation negative impacted the project. Okay, so this regulation, this is your subject, impacted, this is your past simple, your verb, and so this is the verb. What you want is something that describes how it impacted. Okay, and what you need is an adverb. An adverb modifies a verb. So played well. Well is the adverb. It is describing and modifying how you played. Okay, so this needs to be an adverb because it is modified, impacted. How did it impact? Positively, negatively. Okay, ly is normally your adverb. Okay, so when he goes to overseas, he's very. Now this is a very common mistake. Students would use this. Okay, the problem is that they think overseas is a noun, but that is not true. Overseas is not a noun. Overseas is in actual fact an adverb. Now, if you have a noun, then you can use a preposition. This is a preposition, right? If you have a noun, if overseas is a noun, then okay, you can use a preposition. But because a preposition comes before a noun, but this is actually not a noun. This is an adverb. So actually, you don't need a preposition. Just what does adverb do? Adverb describes, one of the ways it is used is, okay, it modifies another verb, or could be an adjective or another adverb, but here we're using it to modify the verb. So overseas is modifying go. Basically, it's saying where? Overseas. Okay, so this is modifying the verb go. John is not free as he involves in. Okay, so here you have your first clause, and then you have your as is same as because. Then you have your second clause, another clause, subject. Okay, this again, this is, you don't use the word involves. Okay, the way you use the verb involve is different. Okay, here you need to use involve can be a verb, but here how do you use the word involve? This involves something. Okay, but here he is involved. This is the adjective again. Be verb, adjective. Okay, as he, you need a be verb, is involved. Okay, adjective. We can't do this in the managers. Again, apostrophe s is the possessive, and you are going to have a noun. Like for example, his. This is John's what book. This is a noun, right? Something that belongs a noun that belongs to John. So you need the noun here. Absent is an adjective. Okay, he is absent. But here you need the absence, the noun. John was exciting about the movie. Another common mistake. What is the difference between exciting and excited? Here I talk about the difference. Okay, ing, very often you have a verb and you can put the ed or you can put the ing. The ed is how a person normally feels. The ing is what makes the person feel that way. Okay, so that's why the movie is exciting. It is what makes the person feel. I am excited. Okay, so the ed often is how you feel. The ing is what causes you to feel the ed. Having said that, for this, it should be the person feeling, right? John was excited, so it's the ed. Both are adjectives. Okay, don't forget, both are adjectives. They are not verbs. I'm saying that you take a verb and you put an ed, it becomes an adjective. You take a verb, you put an ing, it becomes an adjective. Okay, now of course you put the ed after a verb, it could be past simple tense too. All right, I mean, that's not, every time you put a ing does not make it an adjective, but I'm saying that this is one way that you could possibly form an adjective for many verbs. Okay, and of course Putting an ed after the verb is one way you could possibly form an adjective, but also a verb with the d or ed could signify the verb in the past simple tense. It does not always mean that it is the adjective. Let's go to, this is excited, this is adjective. Okay, number 9. She can be easy persuaded to change her mind. Now, this is the verb persuaded in the passive, and this is describing persuaded. So, persuaded verb, okay, in the passive. So, how are you going to modify? Your easy is modifying the verb. So, again, it is needs to be an adverb. Easy is an adjective. So, easily is an adverb, right? And the what? Okay, this is the whole subject. This is the verb. This lost is either a verb in the past simple tense or an adjective. Here you are using the noun. After you have the article there, you always want to use a noun, right? So it should be the loss. Okay, this is the whole subject, the whole noun. Okay. All right, let's go to number 2. Collocations. So we're going to take a look at the different kinds of collocations. The most important collocation, the mistakes that students make, is when you have a noun, they normally get the verb wrong, or when you have a noun, they get the adjective wrong. Okay, or another common one is the using the wrong prepositions when you use a noun, verb, or adjective. Okay, so my father gives high pressure to me to study hard every day. Okay. It should be, of course, put, right? We've done this in the class. Put enormous, or put, you can put considerable pressure. Okay, let's just go to Osdic, pressure. So you use the verb put. Well, this is not the correct meaning. Let's look at this one. It still will be put, enormous. Okay, all these other adjectives you can use, and let's also go to put pressure on. Right. So the adjective. First, you need to change the verb to put. The adjective is also wrong, and the preposition on. Many people make big doubts. So if you look at doubt, okay, you don't make doubt, you have doubts. You don't have big doubts, you have serious doubts. All right, so many people, well, if you're using the past simple, because made is the past simple, then you put had serious doubts. And then what is the preposition? About, S2. So about. All right, so again, you have your verb, your adjective, your prepositional collocation mistakes. This policy, okay, so impact. Let's go to impact. Do you say did? What verbs would go? Sometimes you go to Osdic, which is the collocations dictionary. Sometimes you can go to Macmillan, but Osdic will be especially useful if you have a noun and you want verbs and adjectives. For prepositions, normally, you can find it more quickly in Macmillan. So, which is a normal dictionary. Osdic is a collocations dictionary. It's a specialized dictionary just focusing on giving you the collocations. Normally, when you put a noun in, they'll give you the verb and adjective. You won't be able to find verbs here. They not normally, because there'll be so many nouns that could go with it. But if you put a noun, they will give you the verbs. Okay, so have. What adjective could you use? Considerable. So had past. Let's do a past simple had. Well, negative is also okay. So you negative is it's a collocation too. I'm sure negative is somewhere here. negative. There we go. Okay. And so the preposition collocation is on, okay, not with. The government spent a big amount of money. So you don't say big amount, okay, adjective. Considerable, huge, but you wouldn't put a big amount. So maybe a huge amount of money. The credit for changing the law belongs with the group. The credit for changing the law belongs, normally belongs, what preposition? Belong to. Okay, belong to. Belongs to. The increase on petrol price made an effect on the demand for cars. Okay, so the increase, prepositional mistake, increase in, the increase in something, in petrol price, effect, verb. You don't say made an effect, but you have, or here you put in the past simple tense, had an effect on the demand for cars. He didn't pass his IELTS because he did too many mistakes. You don't do many mistakes, you make. So you made, he made. Okay, again, this is your verb. E-commerce is a highly recent phenomenon. This is your noun. This is your adjective. This is basically an adverb describing an adjective. Recent, you say highly recent? Recent means, okay, you don't say highly recent, you say relatively recent. Okay, so that's your adverb mistake. The adverb does not go with does not describe this adjective. All right, so this adverb relatively. Many Chinese people come to Singapore to make business. Do you make business? Do you make business? Now, business, there are many different meanings. Okay, so if you go down, there are many different meanings. But here, buying or selling of goods, to do business. Okay, to do business. You do business with someone. He was not allowed to participate because he did not reach. Okay, again, the verb, the requirement is a noun. So what is the verb collocation? You don't reach the requirements, you fulfill or you satisfy or meet. All right, he did not meet or satisfy or fulfill the requirements. Okay, so this is pretty much your collocational or the mistakes here. All right, and the website is of course Austic. All right, here are your word pattern mistakes. Oops. Many people lack. Okay, which we already in class. Many people we already went through this. Many people lack. Lack here as a verb is transitive, so you do not have any preposition after, you have an object directly after. Okay, this causes people. Okay, we went through, and our word patterns, you normally go to the normal dictionary, which, by the way, as I mentioned, a dictionary, this is a normal dictionary. A lot of times people may go to just they search for a dictionary, and I don't know, let's say well, some of these dictionaries are good. If you go to Oxford or Cambridge, it's good. But say you go to this kind of dictionary, okay, and you let's look at a word, course. Okay, now what does this dictionary do? This dictionary, it's good. And I mean, it gives you the definition. Okay, it gives you the definition, and a lot of people may go to dictionary.com. Actually, it's not a very good dictionary, because especially for you, because many students think that you need a dictionary just to give you the definition. Well, that's wrong. As I've been showing you, you need a dictionary to give you the collocations and the word patterns, which is very important, because you have the definition but you don't know how to use it. So a dictionary like that does not tell you how to use cause. Okay, it doesn't give you the word patterns. Look at the dictionary like this. Okay, look at the highlighted, the bolded, the words in bold. Cause someone to do. See, so the word pattern here is cause plus object, noun, plus to plus base. So the to plus base is the pattern. Verb, noun, to plus base. And that is precisely the mistake here. Causes people to plus base, to have, not to have, not having. And you can only realize this mistake and you know, find out what's wrong with this, the sentence previously, only if you go to a good dictionary like this that actually gives you the word patterns and all that. Okay, this dictionary, I don't think it gives you that. So it just gives you the definition, which is probably a bit more comprehensive than this, but it is not what we're looking for. A lot of students already know the definition of words. They need to know how to use it. They need to know the word patterns. They need to know the collocations and all that. Okay, so a dictionary like that is really not good. And that's another reason why I firstly get a good dictionary. If you get a physical dictionary, get those advanced learners dictionary, because that's what they'll do. They'll give you all these word patterns and all that. And that's the reason also why a lot of bilingual dictionary, if you look at use a dictionary in your own native language, and they may give you the definition, all right, in your language or in English, but they don't really teach you how to use it. They don't give you the patterns. They don't give you the collocation. So that's another reason why you shouldn't be really using a bilingual dictionary. Very often those kinds of dictionaries are not good. You should be using a dictionary like either from Macmillan, okay, Longman, Cambridge Dictionary, Oxford Dictionary. I'm not sure if Merriam-Webster, I'm not sure, I don't use this. I think this is an American dictionary, and I'm not sure whether they give you the word patterns, but let's just go to this. Longman is good. Cambridge should be, sometimes the online version is not as good as the offline, the physical book. So let's see whether they give you the word patterns. Okay, they give you the definition. They should give you the word. See, this is, it's not so clear, but plus object plus to plus infinitive. Okay, that's why I like Macmillan. Is so clear, the word patterns in bold, but here it's kind of like messy. But it does give you the word patterns, and this is probably this probably comes from the advanced learners. Okay, all the advanced learners are the best dictionaries. If you go to Oxford or Cambridge, just find the advanced learners. Now let's see if Oxford has is it good? Is the online version, sometimes, as I mentioned, the online version there with object and infinitive here means that they're talking about to plus the base verb. Okay, so again, it's not as clear as Macmillan. That's why I like Macmillan, but yeah, they do give you the patterns. Merriam-Webster, let's look at this. As far as I can see, doesn't seem to be, it may, but it's kind of like, it's so messy. So it doesn't seem to make someone feel, yeah, well, this is kind of like it. But again, it's not as clear as going to Macmillan. That's why Macmillan is my first choice dictionary. They give you the most common uses and word patterns and etc. In bold, and they're not so comprehensive. Like you say, this is probably more comprehensive. There's probably more information, but and Longman generally there's more information too. Longman is generally more comprehensive than Macmillan, but Macmillan just gets straight to the point, give you the most common. Okay, they give you some collocations too. All right, they give you the most common word patterns and collocations sometimes, and the best way to use it, the simplest way and the most common way to use it. And that's the reason why most of the time all you really need to go to is Macmillan. All right. So anyway, cause someone to do something, people should focus. So this is the wrong collocation. This is the verb and focus to. You focus to do something. Let's have a look at focus. Focus on. Okay, so you focus on, so it's the preposition on, and after the preposition, if you want, and this is going back to the first lesson, if you need something after, or if you need a verb after the preposition, you are basically going to use the verb in ing. Okay, so focus on earning. Okay, so you have the wrong word pattern. Sorry, just now was focus. You use the focus plus to plus base, whereas focus is focus plus preposition. Okay, the party contributed to make. Okay, let's look at contribute. What is the pattern for contribute? Contribute to here is not to plus base verb. Okay, be very careful. To here, to can be to plus base verb. To can be to as a preposition, and this is sometimes students get confused. To here is a preposition. Okay, contribute to plus then is a noun. After preposition, always a noun. Okay, so here the word pattern is the word contribute plus the preposition to, not contribute plus the to plus base. Okay, that's the reason why contribute to. This is to plus base, but if this is used as a preposition, not to plus base, then after preposition, if you want to put a verb, you put it verb in ing. Okay, so that's the reason it's contributed to making. So to as a preposition is not to plus base verb. People who listened. Okay, this is wrong because firstly this is intransitive. Okay, we talked about transitive and intransitive, and you don't directly have the object after that because you normally have listen. You normally have listen to. Okay, to the preposition to. Showed an improvement in their scores. John suggested his friends to eat. Okay, this is a common mistake also. Let's go to suggest. At the end of Macmillan, they tell you the mistake. Okay, when suggest means to offer, it is never followed by an infinitive. It's never followed by an infinitive. It's also never followed by a direct. So you don't say suggest to do something, nor do you say suggest someone to do something. Okay, so, see, suggest. So you don't say suggest her to do something or whatever. Suggest parents to do something or whatever it may be. Okay, so suggested. Now there are two ways. I would say okay, so if you want to put the to who, you know, the person that you're talking to suggests, normally you say he suggests to someone that. Okay, there are different patterns. You can say suggest that is that plus clause. Okay, plus clause meaning subject and a verb again. All right, so John suggested to his friends, not suggested to his friends to eat, suggested to his friends. This is a bit complicated. Suggested to his friends that maybe you should say that they should eat at the restaurant. Okay, or you could just say you can just use this suggest doing. So you could say John suggested eating at that restaurant. You can just cancel this out. Okay, so various ways you can do it, but the wrong thing to do is firstly to suggest his friends. You don't suggest someone to do something. Okay, you could suggest to someone that plus clause. Okay, or you could suggest doing, suggested eating. All right. It is common that the government spends a lot of money before the elections. Okay. The mistake here is that you are using the adjective common. Okay. Subject, be verb, adjective, with a common well, I'm using the word common again, but with a common pattern, okay, the common pattern is normally adjective. You could say, okay, you could use this. You could use this pattern with this adjective certain. Okay, it is certain that. But when you use common, and this is a common mistake, students say it is common that plus clause. Remember, you can use it is certain that plus clause, but you don't use this pattern, it is common that. Remember, going back to what I mentioned here, there are three very common patterns. A noun, a verb, adjective could be followed by that plus clause. Read this whole thing. Could be followed by to plus base, could be followed by preposition. And every word may be different. That's why you have to go to the dictionary like Macmillan to tell you. Now, it is common that doesn't work. Common does not have that pattern, that plus clause. Whereas a word like certain has that pattern. Okay. So what does common have? It is common for someone to do something. So it is common for the government to spend a lot of money before the elections. All right. Parents play an important, so the pattern is it is common for someone to do something. Parents play an important role to bring. Okay, so this is role, this is a noun. You're using the pattern to plus base verb. Okay. Let's have a look at whether this pattern is used. You don't use pattern role to do something. You use role in. Okay, so you use a preposition after. In plus, if you want to use the verb, you're going to put the ing. Okay, bring up the children. Last year, the size of the army drastically reduced. Okay, this is where you have to think about transitive versus intransitive. Okay, reduce. Go back to read all this. What a transitive and transitive verb means. What does transitive and intransitive means? A transitive verb. If a verb is transitive, it means that you need an object. Okay. If a verb is intransitive, you don't have an object directly after. Okay. The problem with this is that the word reduce, all right, is a verb that is transitive, and therefore you need an object. You can't say the price reduced. There's no object. Where's your object? Okay. Whereas you can say the price decreased. Why? Because decreased here, if you look at decrease, it is both intransitive and transitive. Okay, but the word reduce is only transitive. So you have to have, you can't say the price reduced, you can say the shopkeeper reduced the price. Whereas for the price decrease, you can say the price decreased and the shopkeeper decreased the price. This is as a transitive. This is used in transitive. Whereas reduce is only transitive. So you have to have an object. You see, this is the object. Every time you're transitive, this is the object. Okay. Now there are two ways you can change that. Whereas the price reduce is wrong because the verb reduce is always transitive. You cannot have an object. Okay, so now the way to change this is there are two ways. Okay, either you say last year the size of the army, well, last year the government reduced the size of the army. So this is used as a transitive, the verb transitive, and this is the object here. Or you use it in passive, which we talked about in, I think, the 11th mistake. Last year, the size of the army was drastically reduced. So it's in passive right now. Therefore, you can use it. Okay, you have to go back to passive and understand what passive is. Okay, go to number 11. Read number 11, the 11th mistake. But here you can. This is not being used as intransitive. This is being used as transitive, but it's used in passive form. Okay, basically it is. Last year, say the government reduced the size of the army. So you take the size of the army. Remember, you going to this. Okay, go read all this. How you move it. The size of the army goes to the beginning, the subject, and then you put B plus. past participle. So this is in passive, whereas this is in active. Okay, so either way is possible. Right? The government is confident to. So again, this is an adjective, confident to get. So here, the person is using the adjective confident to do, to plus base verb. Okay, confident is never used in confident to do something. He's confident about, he's confident of. Okay, depending on what certain that something will happen, confident of. Confident of preposition, so when you have a verb, you put the verb in ing. Okay, so this, you may need to go through other parts of this worksheet, the passive, read through all this again, very important. All right, understanding the word patterns. It sounds very similar. A lot of students make a lot of word pattern mistakes because it doesn't seem too different. If you put to plus base rather than preposition, like you say confident to get more people, it doesn't sound too bad for most students, but actually it's wrong. Okay, so that is word patterns. Okay, subject-verb agreement. This should be quite easy. Cars, cars, because cars is a they, you don't have s. Everybody is going to be is. Using cars. This is the verb ing. This is a noun. It is always functions like an is, it. So there will be a s. Every time you have a verb ing here, it's going to be like, it's just like it. Okay. Two people in the group, two are responsible to. Putting again another verb ing. Putting people in prison means, okay, this is the verb. So putting verb ing is, just think of it this way. Using cars causes pollution. It causes pollution. Okay, same thing. Putting people in prison means that. It means, okay, because it's like an it. Again, the same thing. Increasing the tax on cars. Now, don't get tricked by this. Even though cars is s here, increasing is, he, she, it still has a is. Now, this is the subject increasing, not cars. Increasing the tax on cars, but the main head noun, so-called subject, is the increasing. Okay, is. Every person, every needs one of the one, not pens, okay, one of the pens belongs to me. One of it. The regular kidnapping of children. The kidnapping has, even though children is the main subject is kidnapping, has. There is, because it's a large amount. This is a special case. There are. It is this that comes after, which dictates whether it is or are, or was or were, whatever it may be. Okay, so this is quite straightforward. Okay, tenses. Some people, very common mistake is that students tend to put the believed, or it is, if you are using this for your task 2 essay, unless you mean they believed before and they don't believe anymore, then if you don't mean that, then you would be using the present simple. So don't use the past simple here because they still believe, right? Traveling, help. Again, traveling helps. It will be present simple with the s because verb ing. Not the past simple unless it's not true anymore. These days our bodies are becoming. Okay, this is your present continuous tense. When I was young, my parents either went to the cinema or used to go. Either or. From what? Okay, so this is for IELTS academic task 1. When you talk about the graphs, this is on the past because 2010 increased. Nowadays, so it should be present simple tense. Present. Go to the cinema less than before. I am working in Singapore. Since would be, you'll be using the present perfect tense. I have been working since. I have been to. In 2012, you will never use the present perfect simple tense for this because this is, you have a year there, and you wouldn't, if you put a specific date in the past, you wouldn't use the present perfect simple. You would just say I was. You use the past simple tense. Many people think, they still do, last Sunday, last, past simple tense. Okay, so check my videos on tenses, because I can't really focus a lot on tenses in this video, okay? But these are the corrections. Countable or uncountable nouns. My teacher gave me many advice. Firstly, advice is not countable, so you wouldn't put with S. A lot of advice. And again, the same thing. If it's not countable, you can't put one, you can't put S. You could say gave me very good advice, you don't count it. Or you could say gave me a piece of very good advice, either one. Okay, so just take away the one, just gave me very good, or a piece of very good advice. Okay, they could try different, use food most of the time in the uncountable sense. Equipment, okay, I mean this is already marked out here by Microsoft Word, because there's no such thing as equipment is not countable. They'll never put an S. You never use an S. Okay, research, okay, research not countable. Shows, again, if you're not sure whether it's countable or not uncountable, just go to the and very often the dictionary will it will show you here. So research is not countable, you don't put a ES. And sometimes there could be words which are used in both countable and uncountable meanings, okay? So that's why it gets a bit tricky. But so equipment is always uncountable, research too uncountable. Food sometimes is used in a countable way, but most of the time you should use it in uncountable, and advice is uncountable. In this age, everyone has a lot of work. Work is always uncountable. Homeworks is wrong. Homework or work, you don't count works. Information, uncountable. Congestion, uncountable. Scenery, uncountable. Luggage, uncountable. Now, paper, if it's used as newspaper, you can count, but if it's used as normal paper, it's uncountable. You see 5 pieces of paper. Okay, so you wouldn't say 5 paper, but 5 pieces of paper. Again, we need 2. It will be 2 pieces of luggage. Right? A lot of is okay. A lot means more than one. I mean, it is used for a lot. Okay, it's used for like some, but it's used for a lot, but not information. Of course, you can't count traffic congestion, but you can still use a lot. A lot is for both countable and uncountable. So you can say I have a lot of pens. Pens are countable. You can say I have a lot of knowledge. Knowledge you can't count, right? Okay, so that is let's see, a lot of work, even though it's uncountable, you still can use a lot of, because it's used for both countable and uncountable nouns, right? All right, plural nouns used for more than one when it's countable, of course, or to generalize. Okay, there are 2, because 2 will be S because it's countable. Cigarettes in general, so it will be cigarettes cause. It is possible for teachers to influence students, many, okay, or generally. It is argued that animals in general, all, not just one, experience feelings, okay, feeling can be countable. And just to show you, feelings here is normally you use it in the plural, okay, when you talk about emotions. One of the advantages of living overseas is that you will have more freedom. The museum could offer a special discount on special days, not just one special day, okay, all special days. Miracles. Now this is an advertisement I saw in Orchard Central, I think. It's pasted in the lift going up. I was going up into a restaurant and I saw a miracle does happen. No, you're talking about in general. You're not just talking about one. Miracles do happen. Okay. John does not like to play not just video games in general. Okay. Dogs generally are very friendly. We had plans to visit many tourist attractions. All right. Okay, punctuation, conjunctions versus adverbs. Okay, the government ought to help students with more of their tuition fees because it's a conjunction. So you would not, basically you're linking these two clauses together within the sentence. Okay, so you don't put full stop because this is a conjunction, not an adverb. The price of cars is cheap. Full stop. As a result, there's a high demand. You can put a comma there. Okay. Teachers are doing a lot to help students, but never use but with a full stop but. Okay. But this is a conjunction again. As a result, it's not a conjunction. Okay. All right. So you have, remember, with a conjunction, you have from your capital to your full stop, which is a sentence, you have two clauses linked up. See, this is one clause. This is another clause. This is one clause, this is another clause. This is not a conjunction, so you cannot put two clauses. This is a clause, this is a clause. You cannot put two clauses in one sentence because this is not a conjunction. This causes many people to fear the police. And again, and is a conjunction. Never start a sentence with and again in IELTS, but generally, yes, you can. Okay, in more informal writing, but not in IELTS because and is a conjunction, so you have two clauses in one sentence. Parents often put their children first. However, it's not a conjunction. It is a adverb. All right. Modal verbs. Remember two things I always say. Firstly, because it's a helping verb, modal verbs actually modal auxiliary verbs. It's a helping verb. You have another verb that always goes along with it, and the second verb, the main verb that gives the main meaning, is always in base form. No ed, no ing. No s, no to plus base, no just base alone. Okay, so giving people too much freedom would modal base verb, no s. The government should no to modal plus base verb, no to plus base, just should increase. Working shift work can is your modal. Tiring is an adjective, so you need a verb. Because remember the first thing here is that with a modal verb always comes with another verb which is in base form, and you don't have it. Tiring is not a verb. Okay, so can be. This is an adjective. Technology can modal base verb, no ing. Make. The school must modal base verb, no s. Must take. Working overseas can is modal base verb, have. My friend can able. Again, when you use can, this is a common mistake. When you use can, you don't say can able, okay? Because can do something, so you can just say can run or is able to run, okay? But you don't say can able. John should base verb. Done is not a base verb. Should do. He could live. No s. You must really go. You really must go. No to plus base verb. Just base verb. Okay, articles, very common mistake, but almost impossible for most students to get it perfect. Okay, because there are so many rules and exceptions to the rules, and it's very difficult unless you grow up knowing, or just by a feeling and through speaking good English how to use the articles. Very few students will be able to actually grasp it and get it perfect. Okay. But anyway, let's just go to correct these mistakes. People who purchase a car should be made to get a loan. Okay, countable. So you should put a there. This, because it's one of many, this would increase the number. Most of the times you have of something is normally the. He eats apples. This is for generalization. Okay. Governments, either the government, because each country has only one, or governments. Okay, if you're talking about governments around the world. Okay, probably I'll say use, most of the time, guys, when you're going to use government, the word government in your essay, use the government. It's probably better, right? Unless you're really referring to governments all around the world. These days, celebrities, not the celebrities, just in general, all the celebrities are always featured in newspapers. Most of the students, or just most students who take a gap year, may not return to studying. There's a problem with every time you have of, remember, the availability of clean water in many cities in the world. Many people drink bottled water, just in general, not talking about any specific kind. I need to talk to all the boys. Normally you have all the boys. Yesterday I bought a TV in the passive, right? Read through this. Passive, you can only use the passive voice when your verb takes an object. Okay, then your object, the receiver, the action, goes to the front. Okay. Okay, these days a lot of local historical sites. Okay, this is the receiver and the action. It's not the doer. The historical sites do not do the visiting, so it should be passive, are visited. Okay, be plus past participle. The new furniture will be plus past participle sent. The accident happened is not a transitive verb. Something happened, so you don't use it in passive. Okay, the results, remember, if it's not transitive, you can't use it in passive if the verb is not transitive. The results do not do the releasing. They will be released by whoever. Okay, it's passive, be plus past participle. Children need to teach the correct way to be. Now, do children do the teaching? No, people teach children, right? So this is you're putting the object in the front, so the receiver, the action in front, so you should use a passive. Need to be taught the correct way. Okay, passive. This kind of thing, again, same as happen, you don't use occur in you don't use occur as occur is not a transitive verb, so you can't use it as passive. Okay, occurs. This kind of thing occurs. The worker is checked the box. Okay, the worker does the checking, so is inactive. Checks, unless, yeah, the worker checks. Okay, he's the doer of the action. Many people, again, this one too. Well, actually, here benefit, whoever does the benefiting will always be in the front. Okay, at least for this use of the word benefit. Many people benefit from. This is used in an intransitive way. The prisoner was given. Okay, because this is passive. The prisoner does not give people the chance. Is somebody gives the prisoner, so it's passive. It is argued. The animals argued. This is something, a phrase I give you in the notes for your essay. Very common phrase you can use. It is argued that animals should not. Now, animals do not do the forcing, should not be forced to do what they want. Okay, who does the forcing? Not the animals. So animals are the receiver of the action, so it should be, if it goes to the front, it should be passive, be plus past participle here, right? Okay, lastly, sentence structure. A lot you can read through. Let's go to the mistakes. The number of people. Okay, you have double verb. Who owns cell phones? Increase from near zero to over 20 million. The price of cars will increase. You have the I think this is called a fragment. If is conjunction. It's a conjunction, so you have two clauses within one sentence. Okay, culture shock is an emotional reaction. Again, you have double verbs. You should put a relative pronoun, just like that results from not being able to understand or predict the behavior of people in a new culture. With the that will cause, again, this is the first one, which is preposition, missing subject after the prepositional phrase. Okay, so this is prepositional. This is the prepositional phrase with preposition plus noun. You have to have a subject. With the that, what will cause many people, or the other way you can just correct this is either you put a subject, I don't know what you want to put, or you just use the that as a subject, which is the that, don't take away the with, right? No preposition. So the that is your subject, and then will cause. It's your verb. Spending more money on healthcare will result in healthier people and will live longer. This is where you are not, what is your subject? Because if you write a sentence like this, this means spending more money on healthcare. Doesn't make sense, right? Not spending more money will not live longer. You're talking about people, and spending more money on healthcare will result in healthy people. And either you put they, referring to people, or you put people, and they will live longer. Okay. Employers need to trust their employees more. This is, you don't a run-on sentence. You need a full stop. Okay, because this is one clause, full stop, no conjunction, another clause. There are many changes. Are very common mistake for the double verb. Okay, every time you have there are, don't forget that this is a verb. So you have double verbs, two verbs here. So you have to use there are many changes which happen. Use a relative pronoun again, just as the same for this, and I think this, I'm not sure, but another one you use a relative pronoun. Okay. One solution is to launch a campaign. The other, okay, this is comma splice, full stop. The other solution, okay. Or you can say and the other solution, either one, but one clause, one sentence, unless you have a conjunction. So you either put full stop there and you start with a capital for another sentence, or you put and the other solution with a conjunction, so you can have two clauses in one sentence. The radiation will cause harm to people's body and become cancerous. Same thing as, I think, this sentence. No, this sentence just now. Okay. Is it the radiation will become? No, this is not. So you have to, if you're not taking the subject from here and the verb, then you should be putting your subject there. What will become, and what become cancerous? The radiation will cause harm to people's body, and the cells will become cancerous. Okay. For people of this preposition with no subject, for the people of the city who earn a lot of money. Now, this is your preposition. This is your noun. This is your prepositional phrase alone. You don't even have a subject. Okay. For the people of this city who earn a lot of money, comma, blah blah blah. So I don't know how you're going to correct this, but you could say something like, for the people of this city who earn a lot of money. This is your preposition. This is your noun, or your noun phrase, a long noun. For people, the tax is something that, it's a bit of a complex sentence here. For the people of this city who earn a lot of money, the tax is bad news. Okay.